Aloha Captains, I am Londy Ngcobo. Welcome to Unlocking Ocean's Economy with Captain Londy Ngcobo, where we dive deep into the vast opportunities of ocean's economy and dive even deeper into the challenges within the maritime world. I welcome you on board as we unpack and explore sustainability, innovation, and all things opportunities within maritime. Aloha Captains. Welcome on board Unlocking Ocean's Economy with Captain Londy Ngcobo. I'm so excited to introduce you to this guest speaker of mine that has come all the way. She's literally taken 3 flights to get here. I'm so thankful. This is Brenda. Brenda is a national director at Mercy Ships. She's going to introduce herself because the many captains that I'll be bringing here have long profiles. Brenda, thank you. Thank you for agreeing to be here.
Thank you, Captain Londy. It's always such a pleasure for me to come and share what I'm passionate about. Is never too much of a journey. I would take 4, 5, 6 flights if I have to to come. So it's a real pleasure.
I think it's the passion behind your work at Mercy Ships. Brenda and I sit in the same board at Mercy Ships, and when this came through, I just felt that it is just a no-brainer. We have Mercy Ships in South Africa. After how long? For the first time.
We've actually been in South Africa since 1994, but the ship actually been in South Africa. For a while we haven't been here, but yes, I think 2016 was the last time we had a ship in South Africa.
So she stayed in Dry Dock Durban. She's still in Dry Dock Durban.
She's in Dry Dock in Durban, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, yes.
But you know, you and I know each other.
Yes.
We've always seen the face behind Mercy Ships, and you know, behind the brand comes this warm woman, a woman who's now a leader for many within hospitals that are floating. I want to teach you guys about what Mercy Ship does, and I hope that you can dive deep into the conversation with me so we can explore this. But first, who are you, Brenda?
Who am I? Well, my name, of course, is Brenda van Straten, and I am the National Director for Mercy Ships South Africa currently. I've been serving 27 years with Mercy Ships. So in 1996, I heard about this organization and I knew this is what I needed to do. I had been at a time in my life, I loved what I was doing. I was actually in shipping, believe it or not. Loved what I was doing, but I was restless. I needed something new. So I heard about Mercy Ships and I joined their ships in 1996, actually in Madagascar, and sailed on board for 18 years before I came back to South Africa and took on this role as National Director. So I am just your typical person in South Africa who just felt I needed to do something different, and this was it.
And it's so amazing because you know what's mind-blowing for me is that I only got to know about Mercy Ships about 3 years ago. You know, when we were cadets, we used to search for companies like shipping companies, and you'd hardly see Mercy Ship. And I think maybe it's because of the kind of work you do. And that brings me to my question of what anchors you to be able to go out and work at Mercy Ships when we know it's a non-profit organization? So what anchors Brenda?
I think I have a real deep sense of we all have it in us to do something different and something for people. And of course, you know, I'm committed to serving God, so I feel called to this mission. But it's about the little I can do, because I think if one person does one thing, we can do so much. And so what anchors me is an organization that is doing incredible work for God, but for the people. We're wanting to change healthcare systems, and we're doing that every single day on our ship.
You know, I've had a privilege of being on board the ship, and I'm still blown away that we actually have fully fledged floating hospitals.
We do.
Fully fledged, world-class floating hospitals.
Yes.
But tell us how you guys operate. Tell us how Mercy Ship operates.
Well, let me tell you about these 2 ships first of all. We have the Africa Mercy, who's currently here in Durban getting a refit before going to Madagascar. She's 152 meters in length. She has 7 decks, and we have bed spaces for 481 volunteers. I'm going to come back to that.
Yes.
But this ship has 5 operating rooms, it has 75 ward beds, a recovery room and ICU room. And then of course the Global Mercy, which is our new vessel, now she's in Sierra Leone right now. She's a much bigger ship, she's 174 meters, and she has 12 decks and bed spaces for 641 crew. But we have 6 operating rooms and we have 90 ward beds and 102 acute beds, spaces and 7 ICU beds. So she's a much bigger ship. So these ships are actually run by volunteers, believe it or not. Everyone who serves on board the ship is a volunteer, each person paying their own way to serve. And the ships operate through donations. Most of our donors are individuals, but we have corporations, foundations, trusts who provide funding in order for us to provide free medical surgeries to those in Africa.
Amazing, amazing. And you know, when I got on board, like I always have this youth eye in me, like there was a whole school, a whole crash that was fully fledged. There's a whole theater room, many theater rooms.
Yes.
And to me, then it brings the attention back to say, as industry, are we thinking that actually a doctor who sits without employment, for instance, a nurse who sits without employment, they wouldn't necessarily think of working on board ships. Right. Yes, you'll see some that are in entertainment, professional officers, like my background, but none would think of ships. So tell me, how is it made visible? How is it accessible for the rest of the world to see?
Right. Well, using hospital ships is perfect. I mean, you can move a whole hospital with all your medical professionals to one location. So of course, I must mention, we are a ship, of course, so we've got to have all our maritime professionals. Then, of course, a hospital, so you must have all your medical professionals, but also we're a community. So we do need people, cleaning the ship and cooking and making food. And so it's a huge moving village, actually.
Exactly,
and it's perfect because you can move this vessel from port to port.
Port to port.
And people can come and get free medical surgery. If you consider around the world, I mean, there's 5 billion people in the world who lack access to safe, affordable, and timely medical, surgical and anesthesia care. And there's probably about 310 million surgeries that get done globally every year. Only 6% of those surgeries are actually undertaken in poor countries. Can you imagine? So there are people living in these poor countries who have no access to medical care. But Mercy ships can provide that. We can take our 2 ships to these port countries and we can provide what others wouldn't get. And the best part about it is, yes, we're providing surgeries, but also we're working with those host countries to strengthen their healthcare systems so that we can help them to grow their systems, to strengthen their systems, and then provide the similar care that we're providing for their own people.
So a lady in East London who sits with a lump or a tumor, wants surgery and cannot find the means to affordability, to afford the surgery, doesn't have the means to access the ship. How can she apply for when Mercy ship hits the shores again? I'm definitely there, I'll be onboarded and I can get the best possible health care.
It's a little more complicated for us to work in South Africa simply because there's a healthcare system in place. So we have done medical surgery in South Africa some years ago. It's a little more difficult for us to get in. So one of the things that we're working on is where are the countries that most need us? And we found that along the coast of Africa, of course, the greatest need. But in saying that, Mercy ships are currently exploring countries more within our area. So we're going to Madagascar next year in January, we'll come back to South Africa, and then we're looking at Madagascar again, and then we're looking at countries closer within us.
Okay.
So we're hoping at that point that there's going to be a way for someone in South Africa to get that surgery that we're actually providing in other countries right now. But it's very complicated. In terms of where can we go, we need to be invited to these countries. They've got to be able to host the ship in a place where we can offer these surgeries.
Okay, okay. I think that's quite interesting. But maybe I want to dive deeper as to why, because I know you're already offering programs for medical care units in South Africa. But I suppose then maybe let's go back to why can we not offer full-on medical care for those in need in South Africa? So maybe we can unlock that. Yeah.
No, and I think it's not that we can't. It's does the country need us?
Oh, okay.
So that would be the thing. Does South Africa need a ship in South Africa? If you ask me as national director, I'm all in. I'm like, yes. You know, I've been doing a lot of work within the local government. I don't want to tell people, oh, just go to the hospitals because you can get care if I don't know that. So I myself am doing a lot of work, a lot of study. But I do believe that at some point we can and we will. But it's working with the departments of health, working with the government to say, do you need a hospital ship?
Yes.
Can we come? Can we provide what we are providing along the coast of West Africa?
That's amazing. Right now. Brenda, there's an entrepreneur who works on board ships or offers services to ships. Now you guys have been in South Africa since March this year until next month. Until January next year. So how ship management? So how do we ensure that small businesses are able to come through and offer the services, your ship chandling, your repairs, etc., your crew transfers? How does that go about? If you can unpack that.
Yes. So we have an international support center which sits in Texas. That sounds a bit odd to have a shipping company.
I know.
Sitting in Texas, but we do. And then we have a global office in Switzerland, and then we have 16 national offices around the world. So one of the benefits about being in South Africa, for example, is that we can actually get services that are brilliant. We get professional services. So while the ship's been in Durban, we've used local agents, local chandlers, local businesses. So that's, the shipyard, of course. So we've been able to use the services of many around us, which is fantastic. And we get so much support, which I really love, from South Africa. South Africa is a very warm country that offers so much to us, and we've been very grateful for that. Lots of, we've hired rental vehicles, etc., and we've had lovely discounts and lots of support and service. Organization that gave us a vehicle to use for free. So we're very grateful for that, and we take advantage of that. Obviously, we can't do that in many of the countries we visit, and then things have to be shipped into those countries. But South Africa, and even in South Africa, we'll take on food supplies and sail to Madagascar with South African supplies. Yay, which is wonderful.
Okay, I suppose that's much more limited in other countries.
Which would have to get it shipped in from Holland or Texas, but we don't have to do that here, yes.
I'm gauging that South Africa is well capacitated, well resourced, and much more comfortable for your crew to come to dock here for months on months. But I know for a fact that there's the youth listening, there's placement agencies listening. Our crisis right now lies with placing our cadets, placing seafarers, and everybody that wants to be a part of the seagoing crew. I understand that everyone is a volunteer on board, but I also know that there's programs that our governments would offer to say, place our cadets, this is how we can compensate the company so that they can get the experience they need. Do you think that Mercy Ships, Texas being the head office, of course, would be open to such? Because we really are quite starved for placements because we lack ship registry. And if we can have large ships with 7 decks, 12 decks coming into South Africa, then it just is a no-brainer to ask.
Now, of course, you and we've talked about this before, and it's something I'm actually exploring.
Yes.
So one of the things with Mercy Ships is because we are providing this life-saving and transforming surgeries on board, we need everyone to work. Yes, you're right. We have an academy on board for our kids to go to school, because we have families who come and serve for long periods of time, and they bring their children, so they need a school. But everybody who serves with Mercy Ships must have a job. Now, in saying that, it eliminates training a lot. So when we're in a West African country and in South Africa, we're training local medical professionals to do what we do, to hone their skills, to help them to strengthen their giftings. On board the ship, training is more difficult because we need everyone to work. But there are places for cadets, of course there are, and it's something we really want to explore. The little bit of a downside is that because we're berthed in a country for 10 months, it means the ship sits for 10 months.
Yes.
So sailing time is very complicated for those who need the sailing time.
Yes.
So that's another thing we have to look at. How can we explore that option?
Sailing time and dock time actually can be fully explored. And this actually excites me, because I keep saying whoever wants to answer and be part of the family needs to come through and offer such, while we're busy trying to get our ship registry up and running. But Brenda, thank you once again. I want to know, you've taken on a leadership role.
Yes.
Who's on board with you in your life?
Wow, that's a big question. But, there's many people. I have to be honest and say that I would never have been able to do this without my family. My family have stood by me. My father was very concerned, and he has passed away now, but he was very concerned about why would I give up this fantastic job I had with a great shipping company, and I had everything I need. You're giving this up to go volunteer on this strange ship somewhere in Africa. But when he saw how my life was changed and how this was such an incredible organization, he stepped up. And so my family have walked alongside me tremendously, and I'm very grateful for that. Of course, I am a woman of faith, and so I'm very grateful for God who's watched over me and protected me and provided for me for all this time. But there's many others. I have my church, I have my board. How could I do this without my Mercy Ships board?
Actually,
Captain Londy in my life. It's tremendous to have people who come alongside. And of course, Mercy Ships internationally support us. So there's many people that I'm very grateful for that walk alongside me and help me in this journey. So I don't do it alone, and I'm grateful for that.
I'm happy to know that you captaining your life as a woman in leadership, as a national director of Mercy Ships South Africa, you don't feel alone. No. Brenda, I know you're solving a lot of problems, and I know that you are intentional. You are everywhere all the time, and you're always a call away. And I just want to express my gratitude for the rest of the industry, for the capacity that you have offered in and around the maritime industry, for unlocking ocean's economy. That is fruitful to the many people that see and those that don't. Most importantly, for the lives that you keep changing through ocean's economy. And I think that it is unsaid, the work that you do. I'm connected with you as a sister, and I just really wanted the world to know that you exist. But I want to have a call to action that is very clear for the rest of South Africa. You standing in for us, how can we continue to support the cause as South Africans?
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's one life gets changed through our surgeries. And many of these surgeries are not just life-changing, they're actually life-saving. People will die without them. But when we change one person's life, we actually change their whole family, because they no longer have to be caregivers or whatever, the place that they've had. Their lives have changed. Then we change communities. So many lives get changed. And us on board, our lives also get changed. I went to Mercy Ships thinking that I was going to go save the world and change the lives. And what happened? My life got changed drastically through seeing what people go through. So I'm passionate about what Mercy Ships does. I'm passionate about what I do. And so when people ask me, what can we do to support you? Come and serve with us. Come and serve with us. We have place. If you're 18 or you're 70, there's a place for you to come and serve. Be a part of what we're doing. Change a life, get your life changed. It's extraordinary. But of course, we can't do what we do without funding. We need funding. We need donations. Because every surgery we provide it free of charge. But there's a cost to the ship.
Yes.
So we need that funding. And we're grateful for the donors who give.
Yes.
But we need more.
Yes.
And we need awareness. We need people to know. So I think something like this is fantastic. People need to know, what are we doing? Who is doing what out there and how are they doing it? And again, it's extraordinary that we can do this with a ship or 2 ships now, doubling our capacity,
You know?
and be connected with the maritime world. We're very grateful for that. And we're grateful for people like you who take up our cause and serve with us, but also bring awareness to what we do. We're grateful for that.
Thank you. There's just too much love, too much love. And I receive it all and I give it all. Thank you so much, my sister. It's been very amazing. I do have a segment with a Global Maritime Youth, you know my foundation, Global Maritime Youth.
Yes.
When I told Global Maritime Youth that there's going to be like industry, whole industry coming onto this platform, they're like, Captain, can we please be part of it? So this person has come through and said, I want to ask questions, or I want to ask a question to Sis Brenda. That's what they call it now, Sis Brenda. You know, so please take this question, and we're grateful that you are willing to answer to the younger brains as well.
Hi, Miss Brenda. My name is Mr. Mnganga. I'm doing my final year at the Durban University of Technology under the Department of Maritime Studies. The course that I'm doing is nautical studies. So I have got one question for you, ma'am. So my question is, how do you ensure the safety of the crew on the ship?
Nice to meet you, and congratulations on your studies. We have a lot of procedures in place to ensure the safety of our crew. Of course, we have a whole security team that are on board in terms of when we're in a port. So we have a security team that manages who comes up and down the gangway. We have, of course, health professionals who make sure the crew are kept well health-wise. And you know, we have a whole team who ensures that our crew are taken care of from the time they arrive on board the ship until the time they leave. Is there more of a specific question that you might have in mind?
All the professionals that are working there are volunteers, right?
Yes.
So like, how do you make sure that all those people that are working there like are well trained? Do you give them like a training before taking them on board, or how does it work? Well,
of course, we ask for a lot of paperwork. So we want to see people's documentation, to see, you know, what their professions are. We do we call it a spark hire. So we do an interview ahead of time online with them to make sure that they have their qualifications, and then they come and serve with us. So if they come for a short space of time, then they'll just come on board. But if they go for a longer term, so if somebody wants to serve longer than a year, then we ask them to attend our training program, which is actually in Texas, and we do occasionally run one in Africa. There's a training program for them, yes.
Oh, so like a minimum is 12 months?
Well, no, a minimum, depending. You can 3 months to 12 months would be classified as short term. Anything after that would be long term. Yes. But when you arrive on board, you'll also get training for your specific position as well. So, yes.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Well, there you have it, captains. Thank you for sticking around. Brenda, it's been amazing. We do have a small token of appreciation for coming all the way and for showing support in this cause and Global Maritime Youth. Thank you. It is nothing, but it's everything. Thank you so much, my sister. I'm truly thankful for what you did today.
Thank you. Thank you ever so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, there you have it, guys. Let's keep the ship afloat. Please like, subscribe, and share. I'll see you next time.